Are you all set for the final ascent? Since I genuinely am, in other words, you ought to be prepared if you are. We bought during both boom and bear markets, regardless of what the market did. Right now, gentlemen, all I'm waiting for is one entire season, which I believe is approaching shortly. However, please leave a remark below if you're ready. I'm prepared because I am prepared, folks. Yes, and it appears that we are preparing. Gentlemen, be ready for this final like. As you can see, the topic of today's film is Bitcoin. It is related to the altcoin market as well because altcoins increase in value in tandem with the rise of Bitcoin. Then something awful had to be underneath all of this, don't you think? I'm going to use this final opportunity to talk about it because it's time. But we're still going to discuss it. Gentlemen, enjoy the film of today and let's go on. Ted tweeted, "I am always amazed by the connection between Bitcoin and the Federal Reserve's cash liquidity will be at its lowest levels in 10 days. It will then begin to rip apart again. Get ready." Hey guys, I was examining this sign. That's the cash delta of the Fed then. Oh, wait a minute. And now that I see, I was going to point to the chart. All right, the orange line is Bitcoin. The orange line represents Bitcoin, and the available money from the Federal Reserve is indicated by the blue and red bars. Take a look at this right now. Let's now discuss what occurs when they introduce liquidity. Whenever you have extra money, check out Bitcoin. You all ought to watch what transpires with Bitcoin, don't you? Excellent. That is absurd on its face. And then as we can see here, folks, consider how much Bitcoin costs if there is ever a cash crunch. True. It's a fairly good estimate as to what will happen next, even if it's not always accurate, right? As an additional sign, you guys might attach this to your tool belt. Let's talk about liquidity, gentlemen. Look at the current price of Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin dropped from $67,000 to $58,000 in April and May. Yes, $59,000 as a result of money flowing out of the market. And costs increased upon its return. Guys, just have a peek at the price of Bitcoin. That is absurd. And now, gentlemen, it's returning to normal. Accordingly, it's stated that liquidity will hit its lowest point within the next 10 days, or roughly 10 days from now. There may be some consolidation as a result. Perhaps a downward price shift before things bottom out and things go better for us, guys. I'm prepared, really. Take a look at this right now. Really, our theory was validated by this chart. My overarching hypothesis, folks, why? Because the current Bitcoin cycle is depicted by this yellow line. Gentlemen, and it appears to me that the other price movement lines correspond to the men from the earlier cycles. For now, it appears that we are headed in the right direction. This is visible to the right. As I mentioned, we could even pump up to $90,000. And then, folks, perhaps that represents the peak of the mid-cycle. Go down lower before we enter. Yes, so this final leg will last the entire season, correct? Guys, it's going to happen sooner rather than later, whatever the time frame. This is when the season begins, right? People, as long as things continue this way. That's the reason I'm so prepared. Guys, this has to be one of the most bizarre signage. It seems like everything this show is going up, which is why I'm so excited. Really ought to return. Now, let's examine USCT power. As I said to you, I was correct. That's where, folks, we previously mentioned that opposition is preventing you from moving forward. It is also in your lower tier. Yes, since we discussed in one of my earlier films that there is a great deal of opposition. It is quite lovely. It's actually holding back. What is meant by that? Guys, I'm still hoping for the USCT to win this final leg. This indicates a rise in Bitcoin and all other assets. Watch this space to find out what happens next. We should be certain that cryptocurrency values would rise in tandem with the stock market's upward trend, right? That doesn't make sense yet. The value of Bitcoin is declining. The previous time this occurred, an 80% pump was required to reverse the trend. And it took 15 days. Yes, folks, history does really repeat itself. All right, guys, nobody's quite ready just yet. But when that final leg appears, it's going to be a really scary pump. Your friends and kiddies will purchase, and so will the guys. Everyone is going to purchase. Yes, as the news raters would now prioritize prominently reporting positive news. Am I correct? Then, before this occurs, they'll persuade everyone to sign up, right? Probably at the time of the Federal Reserve's interest rate reduction. Guys, when was the last time you saw an increase in the stock market? As you can see, Bitcoin fell. After 15 days, Bitcoin just underwent an 80% pump. Yes, exactly the same thing is happening at this precise moment. The stock market is depicted by the blue line. Isn't Bitcoin declining? Guys, it's been 15 days now. All right, gentlemen, what does that mean again? Is a pump on its way? Like I've been saying, it appears to be for the final leg. Once more, both Bitcoin and the stock market are rising. Guys, let's hope and pray that all markets will rise. Check this out to find out how long the SP will continue to heat up as an SP for 96. Alternatively, the SP10, here are 10 large stocks shown by the blue line. The darker blue line in this example represents the SP 500, omitting the top 10 stocks. Therefore, the final instance. Whoa, folks, this is fascinating. Look it over. The last time something like occurred was in the year 2000. That is exactly what will happen after that. Indeed, the dot-com bubble burst. It seems pretty weird to me. All right, so what if there is a crash soon? All right, the final leg ascends before the descent. Is it feasible? It's accurate, folks. Not in my opinion. All right, I believe it is still too early. My prediction is that this will most likely continue to rise. Indeed, it increased by 47 times the previous time. We are currently at 30x. It implies that NVIDIA will continue to rise. The top 10 stocks will continue to rise, guys. Regarding the other 490 stocks in the box, I have no knowledge. Guys, the last time around, they didn't even accomplish much. Cryptocurrencies, however, will rise in tandem with the stock market. But surely this is what I truly want. You guys are aware that this and that are rising. Consequently, everything is rising at the same time that I have been predicting a stock market blow-off peak. And cryptocurrency, folks, has been in a very robust bull market since October 22nd into the last stages of the business cycle. Actually, I've been on this channel before. Here are some financial tips. When was that years ago? 22. Okay, June 17th to be more precise. It was June 17th, 2022 for sure. I honestly tweeted that we would have a roaring bull market till the end of 2025, along with my master timeline. Yes, with monthly gains surpassing prior bull runs in late 2022 and early 2023, we dubbed it the first bull market. This was not well understood at the time. This is the top of the block. For the SP 500, this isn't the final version yet. Though there isn't much left, there soon will be. Thus, it appears that the markets are indicating a top of some sort. Though I'm not sure if it will be a cycle top, I believe a mid-cycle top is more plausible. Allow me to demonstrate for you all. For Bitcoin, use this. I've already posted on my second channel, but you get the picture. Remember that this has something to do with XRP and everything else. I would like to attend this week. Given that Bitcoin is currently dominant, it makes sense. What took place in 2019? Since then, prices have decreased following a surge in Bitcoin. Now, the same thing is taking place. Gentlemen, Bitcoin is poised to reach unprecedented heights of $90,000, $100,000, or perhaps higher. And after that, isn't that right? Look it over. The two are identical to one another. Except that this position isn't a new high, is that correct? It's a little different now, isn't that right? However, the route remains largely unchanged, correct? Like this, down and pump. Examine this. Descend in this manner, then descend and pump, correct? Precisely the same thing. Given that this was more of a distribution top to blow off top, if you will, that is the reason why this final light event occurred. I take it that this is a result of money being printed. Unless we find some money, we won't go too nuts. All right, so until that person prints money, it won't drop that low. But since there is a lot more money around at the moment, it may continue to rise until the downturn begins. Guys, I'm ready now. I think I'm really prepared for the final climb. All of the charts predict that those events will take place next. I don't think altcoins will float at the same time as XRP, but after this, I think I'll be out of altcoins altogether. I shall only retain the currency against my will till the day I die. We'll have to wait and see. And I'm hoping XRP increases shortly. I think it could result in all-time highs, am I right? Right now, it may be a 50/50. The Ripple vs. CTC issue is really important, but let us wait and see what happens next. Right now, I need your assistance. How would you feel if this occurred?